One, two, three.
What is up, team? Today we're going to graph and analyze some functions. I'm taking these quadratic functions. So I'm taking these straight from our practice quiz. So you'll see it. You have the practice quiz, you have the solutions on paper, then you have this video to accompany all of it. Learning target here, I can graph and analyze quadratic functions. So let's dive right in. On here, we have our practice quiz. I'm going to do some work on the side. I'm going to use this for information, then I'm going to scroll down here so I can use the graph. So it's a little bit neater than normal. So x squared plus 4x minus 1. We're given all of our x values. We need to find our f of x's. So we just need to plug stuff in. I'm going to do a few of them, and then I'm going to pause, complete the rest of the table, because I don't think you need to see me do all of the algebra here. So first thing, I'm going to do f of negative 3, because that's the first x value I see right here. That's going to be negative 3 squared plus 4 times negative 3 minus 1. Well, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 4 times negative 3 is minus 12, and then it's minus 1. 9 minus 12, that's negative 3 minus 1 more is negative 4. So our f of x value here is negative 4. Let's do f of negative 2. F of negative 2, so it's negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 1. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times negative 2 is minus 8. Minus 1. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Minus 1 is negative 5. F of negative 1. I'm going to do some work over here now. Negative 1 times negative 1. I'm not going to show all my work for this one. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 4 times negative 1 is minus 4. Minus 1. 4 minus 1 is negative 3. Minus 1 is negative 4. Oh, interesting. It looks like I already have my parabola pattern here. All right, let's see where this goes. F of 0. So that's going to be 0 squared, which is 0, plus 4 times 0, which is 0, minus 1, which is negative 1. And you know what? We're just going to do it all. F of 1. 1 squared is 1. 4 times 1 is 4, minus 1. That ends up being positive 4. So this is a little weird. It looks like our vertex is right here. Normally we see it right in the middle. Sometimes this happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of extra work. I'm going to do f of negative 4 as well, even though it's not asked for, because it's going to help us out. On your quiz, this won't be the case, but we're going to do it here. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. 4 times negative 4 is minus 16 minus 1, and it ends up being negative 1, which is exactly what we hoped for. We have our symmetry. So our vertex is when f of x is negative 5. And then when we move out, they're both negative 4. Move out again, they're both negative 1. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and pause and set up my graph so we can take it to the next step. Okay, we're going to plot some dots and see what happens here. The first one, I'm going to do negative 4, negative 1. So negative 4, negative 1. Negative 3, negative 4 is next. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 2, negative 5, negative 2, negative 5, negative 1, negative 4, and 0, negative 1. We have a parabola, a U shape, opening upwards. We're going to connect the dots. Oh boy. Let's pretend I hit all the dots there. We want to go through our points. That's why they're there in the first place. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to go through our points. Okay, we're going to answer a few questions. Vertex, axis of symmetry, maximum or minimum. Vertex is right there. That's the turnaround point, which is at negative 2, negative 5, that's where the star was. So we'll say vertex at negative 2, negative 5. I want the parentheses there. That's how we talk about coordinate points. That's super important. Maximum or minimum. This is a minimum, because this is kind of our ground floor. It never goes lower than this particular point. It goes up forever, but it never goes below that point. So this is a minimum. And our axis of symmetry. This is the line that chops our parabola exactly in half. So our axis of symmetry is on the line x equals, what is this? Negative 2. This is the equation of the line That is this orange dashed line that chops our parabola in half. Okay, here's half your practice quiz. I'm going to pause, reset, and we'll get the second half going. Okay, team, this one's a little bit more challenging. We don't have our x values, so we don't have our inputs given to you, so we have to do a little bit of exploration. Our function here is f of x equals negative x squared minus 6x minus 2. We already know it's going to open up downwards. It's going to have a maximum, and that's given by this negative a value here. But we need to figure out what x values we're going to do. So we're going to start right in the middle. We're going to start with negative 1, 0, and 1, and then from there, that'll be enough of a roadmap to tell us which direction to pursue this thing. So I'm going to do f of 0 first because it's the easiest. So we're going to have negative 0 squared, minus 6 times 0, minus 2. 0 squared is 0. Negative 0 is 0. Minus 6 times 0, that's 0. So now we have 0 minus 2, and we learn that when the input is 0, the output is negative 2. Let's bounce over here. F of positive 1 now. Negative 1 squared is negative 1. So we're squaring the 1. 1 times 1 is 1, but that function is forcing it negative. Minus 6 times 1, well, that's minus 6, and then the minus 2 is just there. Negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7, minus 2 more, it's minus 9. Let's do the same thing, f of negative 1 now. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1, but this negative sign forces that term to be negative. Now, minus 6 times negative 1. 6 times negative 1 is negative 1, but we're subtracting, so it's going to be plus 6. Be extra careful with our negatives. Negative 1 plus 6 is 5, minus 2 is 3. Okay, let's look at our roadmap. Let's see which direction we should go. The difference between these two f of x values is 5. The difference between positive 3 and negative 2 is 5. The difference between negative 2 and negative 9 is 7. These two are further apart. That means we're going in the wrong direction. We want these things to get closer and closer together. So we're going to pursue it where the x values are negative. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to fill out the rest of this table. It's just function notation. I'm going to plug in negative 2, negative 3, negative 4 for x until I finally see my pattern. I'm not going to take your time in this video to do that. Okay, here we go. Finished our table. Located our vertex. It's at negative 3, 5. We know it's our vertex because, again, as the x value goes up and down by 1, the y value matches. The y value matches. That pattern keeps going forever. So let's plot what we got. Negative 3, positive 5. Negative 3, up to 5. That's our vertex. Let's go to the left now. Negative 4, 6. Negative 4, 6. And then negative 5, 3. We have an issue here. We have an issue. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've made a mistake somewhere. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to explain it. All right, found my error. It was a silly one. So it was my vertex point, actually. F of negative 3 should be negative 3 squared, which is negative 9, minus 6 times negative 3. That'd be plus 18, minus 2, ends up being 7. This point right here, I did have negative 3, 5. That's wrong, so I should move it up to negative 3, 7. The reason I knew it was wrong is because we didn't have a parabola. Easy way to check your work as you go along. Okay, next one, negative 2, positive 6, negative 2, positive 6, negative 1, 3, negative 1, 3. Here we go. We have an upside down U. We have a frowny face, which we expected because of the negative a value right here. Vertex is right there. The actual vertex is at negative 3, 7. Is this a maximum or a minimum? It's our maximum. This is our ceiling. This is as high as we can go. It goes down forever, as indicated by the arrows, but it's never going to turn around. It's never going to come back up. So this is a maximum. And our axis of symmetry, that is the line that chops our parabola right in half. It's here at x equals minus 3. There we go. This is how to solve both problems on your practice quiz. Your actual quiz is going to look just like this with different quadratics. Okay, let's do a little more practice. Let me know if you have questions. You got this.